Hello everyone, this is Club 10M Plus's exciting new podcast that's here for you. We are all about stories, new developments and learning about individuals. Our hope is that you will join us every week to hear about our distinguished guests. We hope to inspire you, bring you laughter and make you reflect. Our guests come from all walks of life and primarily they want to share their stories. Not sure about you, but I love a good story. So Club 10M Plus have devoted their time to creating these podcasts, to sharing great ideas and stories and much more. So tune in every week to make sure that you don't miss out. It could be you next week. Want to know more? We want to hear your stories. So sign up and be our next guest. Hi, Sandra. Absolute pleasure to have you on today. I cannot believe that the last time we tried this, it didn't work.
Absolutely.
So move on very swiftly to an extraordinary woman that I want to introduce to everyone. And I want you to go through your story, Sandra, because you're the one that can tell it the best. And I think all the amazing things that you've done and put together, authored a book, and it goes on. So I'm going to let you tell everyone. So over to you.
Lovely. Thank you so much, CHRISTA. Thank you for inviting me to your lovely podcast. I'm privileged, I'm delighted, and I'm really happy to be here with you. So yeah, last time we had some technical issues and we couldn't do it, but we're here today on this lovely, bright, sunny evening. So it's all good. The sun is out for us and I'm really happy. So my name is Sandra Moodie, as you just said, and I'm really, really happy to be here with you this afternoon, just to talk a little bit about myself. And yes, I am a children's book author. I am a parent myself of 3 adult children and a grandparent of 5 grandchildren. Aged range from 21 all the way down to 3. So a lot of people wouldn't really believe that, absolutely, but yes, it's true. I'm heavily experienced when it comes to parenting. So yes, I started my parenting journey as a teenage mum, and shortly after I left school, I had a little girl. The journey was tough, but I have to admit, I was really supported. And I think this is the whole essence about parenting, is that young parents must be supported. You know, I was supported by my children's dad side of the family as well as mine. My elder sister was a midwife, and that was just perfect. So I learned to do things by the book, you know, in terms of how to manage and look after her and things like that. But essentially, in terms of my knowledge, I could only give her what I had. So 12 years later, fasting forward, I found myself expecting my son, and 18 months later, my youngest daughter. And as a result of that particular time, I was really, really ready to be a mum. I was ready to be a parent. And, you know, with all of that, I just thought to myself, well, I'm enjoying this. It was literally like I came alive at this point. And, you know, I just was pouring into them all the time. We were listening to ABC songs in the cars, numerical songs in the car, and we were just having a blast. And I'd buy them children's literature, and you know, I'd buy them Noddy Magazines, and there was no representation in there. There was one child in that, one doll that was in there called Dinah, and she was the only black feature, and she didn't come in it very often. And it really dawned on me, and I had this desire, do something for them. So essentially my dream at the time, and that was probably over 20 years ago, and I just thought, do a children's magazine. And as I felt like doing it, I literally saw a vision about doing a children's magazine with a little girl called Kamara. Kamara, you know, means teacher of peace. It's a Ghanaian name. And with that, I just had this concept where I wanted this little girl to travel around the world and bring all the educational differences back to the magazine. So she was literally like a young journalist, but she was a child, but she was speaking to her audience as children. So the centerfold of the magazine was for children's contribution, for them to write in, and at the back of the magazine was for parents to actually give them advice. Now, fast forwarding later, to tell you the truth, at the time, I had no concept on education, nothing about business. I didn't know where to start. All I had was a vision and a burning passion. So my youngest sister, she was an artist, so she helped me to kind of create Kamara. And I went to college, I learned to do a bit of business. And then when I went to go and do a bit of business, I actually found myself in a situation. I wanted a job. One of my neighbors contacted me and said, "Oh, there's a job going at the local school to work with one boy for 10 hours." And I wanted it so badly because this is what I wanted. I wanted to pour into children the way I was pouring into mine daily. And I went for this interview, and this interview was literally nearly 2 hours long, literally just over an hour and something. And I was like, and it's not until I gained all my experience later, I felt I was being interviewed just like I was a head teacher. This was just to assist one child, only for 10 hours, but I wanted it so much. And I think the panel that was there was so surprised in the way I answered, because they tried to block me, but it just wouldn't happen. So I just kept going for gold, going for gold. And I kept answering things, 2 and 3 questions ahead of time. And it was like, I could see like the chair of governors was kind of getting a bit intimidated. But when you have a passion inside of you and you just want to pour it out, there's nothing, you can't contain it. And, I know that there are people that have visions, and they may think that they can't, but it's like a baby's got to be born. The baby will grow, but the fetus starts off really early, but then they get to 9 months and they've got to get out. So it's just like, it's literally, and this is where, even like with the book I've written, it's all about the seed. Seeds grow once they're nurtured. And if you nurture your vision, it will become something so powerful you never begin to understand. I went for this interview, and the very next day or 2 days later, it was letters back then, it wasn't emails. "We regret to inform you." I was so shocked. I was disappointed. I was like, "What do you mean I didn't get the job?" Only for me to find out 1 year later, the school I really wanted to go into was bulldozed down, and now they built a whole lot of apartments. So I thought, my goodness, what I wanted and what I dreamt for would have been short lived. And would you believe it? School I was trying to get my son into for goodness knows how long, they wouldn't take him, and he had to go to another local school, and I didn't like it. It was not my choice at all. And as a result of that, my youngest daughter had to go there. So when she had to go there, I had no choice but to work with what I had. There was a meeting, and in that meeting, they asked if parents would like to help to get this disco going. When I got to the meeting, only 5 parents showed up out of a school of like 600 and odd, students. And I could not believe the lack of support. And this is when I realized this is why the school was really struggling. They were trying to drag a horse to water, but you can't force it. And so when I got to the meeting, and when the assistant said, "Oh, we need this done and that done to make this disco work," I said, "Well, you can't do that for it to be a success if you just do that. You need to do this, 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 and this." She said, "Well, are you willing to do it?" And I said, "Well, okay then." I was a professional cake artist at the time. So what I did, I just literally put some things into position, and the 5 parents that were there, I gave them different tasks. And would you believe it? I got the administration to send out letters to say, "Look, this disco's happening." I sent out reminders to the junior school, the infant school. My neighbor came, she made all these sandwiches with spring onions as palm trees. It was an absolute success. It was the best. The deputy head came up to me and she said, "Sandra, I've just heard that you've arranged all of this. We used to have things like this, but the parent governor that used to run them, she left and it all died down. But looking at tonight, I believe this is the resurrection of it all. I don't know if you're interested, but we'd like to start a parent support group." Now, she didn't know what she was saying to me. This was me. I wanted to write plays on bullying. Everything was there because I had this deep passion and I wanted to give birth to these things that I could see. And after a couple of weeks, we had a meeting, and then she came back to me. She said, "Sandra, when we see parents like you, we like to grab them." She said, "I don't know if you're interested, but we've got 10 hours going in the nursery. This woman would have not known that the year before I wanted 10 hours to work with one child. And I was offered this job 22 and a half hours. I was able to bring the children to school. I was able to work in the nursery, reception, year one and year two. We had a blast. Then I went to college. Then I did my NVQ level 3. Then shortly after that, year's break, I found myself in Greenwich University doing education studies. And this is where my journey started on the educational route. And so there was things, so sometimes you may see a vision, but you need to be equipped. You need to be endowed. And this is where I began to develop all of my skills with what I could see. Shortly after that, I left that school. I did 6 years with them. Then I went on to become a learning mentor. After that, I went and done placements in a secondary school. So my experience was really building up. And funny enough, it was like a fast track. And then the mentor post was just like a contract for a year. The head teacher said, I have to let you go. I was disappointed, but hey, it is how it works. She helped me. She's, gave me not applications, but adverts about different jobs for children's centres. And they were new at the time. And I applied for, I think, maybe 5. And 3 out of the 5, I got shortlisted for jobs for the same day, 16th of July, I remember. And I went for 3 different interviews, and one manager's role was for the one where I went for that job years ago and I didn't get it.
Wow.
And and then one of the jobs was just behind the congestion line. And I thought, well, I don't want that because I want to be able to drive to work. Anyway, would you believe it? That one for the outreach work, to work in the community with the families, parents, and everything else, it was like dynamite. I just kept moving in that interview. Whereas when I got to the one where it was nearer and was the manager's role, it was like I was numb. I didn't know what to say. It was literally like a flat line. And I thought, no, but this is the one I really want. But I just could not produce what I wanted there in that interview with those people, of those 5 members on the panel. And the next day I got a feedback and I said, oh, Sandra, we're really sorry, but we didn't give you the job because we felt you needed a bit more experience in managing others. And I'd never done that before. And I thought, well, how am I going to do that if you don't give me the experience? And I came home and my son said to me, Mum, by being promoted where you are. And when he said that, I said, my goodness, this child's only 15 and he's come out with all this wisdom.
Oh,
Mum, by being promoted where you are. Little did I know, the following day, I got the feedback from that school and that children's centre. Head teacher called me, said they'd like to offer me the outreach post. I went in, did the outreach post. The managers that was there at the time was with me for 4 weeks, left me in a brand new centre. I literally had this vision how to do the Every Family Matters, linked it to all the outcomes of Every Child Matters. I set up programs, everything, literally everything that I was feeling and seeing, I was able to implement it there. This guy then just decided to resign, left me with this brand new centre. The teacher that was there supporting me put all the policies in place. And would you believe it? In the 6 months of my promotion, I was promoted to the official manager. I had events where I had Baroness House from the House of Lords. I had the Borough Commander of Lambeth. I had a strapline of women, high profile women, come to speak to local mums how they got to where they did. And it was beautiful. The parents cooked food from all their different nationalities. So International Women's Month was an absolute dream. And I still had this thing. But then because of the cuts, what happened was they decided to make, severe cuts. So there was 30 managers of us in the borough and they reduced them to 30. So at that point, that was when everything began to reduce. And it was literally like I was going to be made redundant. And I was like this after a few years. So as I was going to be redundant, I was walking through the corridor one day and it was literally like I saw a vision of Kamara in the center. And I said, oh my goodness, but this is my market. This is where Kamara could work. And I just had this vision to tie it all together and bring it all in. Years later, would I have known that lockdown would have happened? And as lockdown happened, I began sponsoring a little girl in the Gambia, decided to inspire her, motivate her, and draft her a children's adventure. And here is Aminata and the bag of seeds. Would you believe the concept of Kamara is actually in here? And so on the final page, there is the parent advice, the segments of the orange, because she plants an orange tree, has all the Every Child Matters, the 5 outcomes in it. I did another 2 on environment and children becoming spiritually aware. And I give the additional concept that when all these areas are in a child's life, it makes them whole, just like an orange. And that is what I do. I run around, I write parenting programs, for parents who've been on long-term unemployment, to really empower them, let them know that they carry all of this. They have it too. So essentially what I do, I transfer my journey into the lives of others. And it's been an absolute blast. It really, really has. It's been an absolute blast. And I'm still
Sandra, I've got to pull you up here because we've overrun and I'm going to get so told off.
Wow.
But what a journey. What a story.
It's been
And I
interesting.
did say, guys, she was an incredible woman. And you know what? I almost feel like we need to bring those books to life. We need to make them come alive on the screen and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's been interesting.
Sandra, I want to thank you so much.
Welcome, CHRISTA. You are most welcome.
For joining us today. And maybe we'll need to tune in again soon.
And that's
Take care for
absolutely
now.
fine. Thank you so much. All the best. Thank you, audience.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hello everyone, this is Club 10M Plus's exciting new podcast that's here for you. We are all about stories, new developments and learning about individuals. Our hope is that you will join us every week to hear about our distinguished guests. We hope to inspire you, bring you laughter and make you reflect. Our guests come from all walks of life and primarily they want to share their stories. Not sure about you, but I love a good story. So Club 10M Plus have devoted their time to creating these podcasts, to sharing great ideas and stories and much more. So tune in every week to make sure that you don't miss out. It could be you next week. Want to know more? We want to hear your stories. So sign up and be our next guest.